If you're taking a type 2 diabetes drug belonging to the group called gliflozins, so dapagliflozin or empagliflozin, this video is for you. Many executives living with type 2 diabetes really don't find it hard accessing the latest medication from the top brands abroad, the UK, Turkey, Germany, etc. They either have premium health insurance cover or they can afford them. What they don't realize is that even the latest medication from the best brands causes health issues and side effects. The more meds you take, the more problems you make. For close to a decade now, I've used a simple 3-step system, the Diabetes Freedom Formula, to help executives achieve normal blood sugar levels 2 to 5 times faster than they ever would, relying on medication alone, even when they're using insulin or the top brands. Today, I'd like to talk about a group of drugs called gliflozins. So dapagliflozin, empagliflozin, any type 2 diabetes drug which ends with that suffix, gliflozin. These drugs work by causing your kidneys to excrete glucose in urine. This helps to lower your blood sugar levels. And because glucose contains calories, it can potentially help to cause weight loss. Also, they may help to lower blood pressure. However, this presents some problems. The first is that the excess glucose in urine creates an environment for bacteria to thrive, resulting in increased risk of urinary tract infections, UTIs, especially in women. For the next problem, I'll use one of my clients' results to explain. So, Rita came in on the 16th of August 2025 and has been with us to date. Her weight was 82.1 kilos at the start. Her body mass index, 29.3. So comparing her weight to her height, 29.3 should be less than 25. Her fat percentage was 44.5%, which meant that of the 82.1 kilos, 36.5 kilos was fat. Her visceral fat, the fat around her intestines, which puts at risk of type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, abnormal cholesterol, fatty liver, and so on, and then the complications which come with all of that, was 9. Needless to say, this is color-coded, so red is dangerous, amber or orange is borderline, and then green is good. So her visceral fat was 9. And that, for me, I typically aim for less than 8. It seems that when it's less than 8, most of the issues tend to resolve. Muscle percentage was 23.8%. So of her 82.1 kilos, 19.5 kilos was muscle. And the goal, again, when I work with people is to make sure that they are building muscle while losing fat. I don't really care what the weight figure is because I know it will get to the right range ultimately, as long as they are consistently losing more fat while building muscle. I don't want them losing muscle. 80% of the glucose in your blood for healthy individuals can be absorbed by muscle, which means that it's helping you regulate your blood sugar. That's what our clients sign up for. They sign up to achieve diabetes freedom. Let's move on to her pressure. Systolic was borderline 124. The diastolic and heart rate were fine. Fasting blood sugar was 7.4 at the start. HbA1c was 11. CRP, a measure of inflammation, was in normal range. Less than 2 is good. The 3 root causes of insulin resistance and hence of type 2 diabetes are chronically elevated insulin levels and then chronic stress and chronic inflammation. Triglycerides put you at risk of heart attacks, strokes, and so on. 0.91, they should be less than 0.8. HDL cholesterol 1.45, it should be at least 1.5. Triglyceride to HDL cholesterol ratio was 0.6, and you want that ratio to be less than 1. That ratio estimates or predicts one's risk of a heart attack or stroke in the near future. EGFR, which is her kidney function, was fine, 98, should be above 90. So, over time, she moved from 82.1 to 77.5 kilos. That makes it about 4.6 kilos of total weight lost. As of today, she's lost 6 kilos of fat. But I want us to go back to the 24th of November because there's something which we did here, which, as you notice, tipped everything into green. Up to the 24th of November, she had lost only 3.8 kilos of fat. Her visceral fat, if you notice, yes, it had dropped to 8, but to me, this is stagnation. At worst, it should drop by 1 each month. But really, from August up to November, it's dropped by just 1. That's, for me, slow progress. Had she gained any muscle at any of the sittings? Yes, so she gained some muscle there, she gained some there, then she lost. She lost a lot at the start, gained some there, gained some there. But really, the net is that she had lost muscle, 0.9 kilos of muscle over the time. Gaining some, losing some, but the net was she had lost. When she started out, she was taking bisoprolol, amlodipine for her pressure. Then she was taking Cresta, which is rosuvastatin, to lower her cholesterol. And then she was also taking dapagliflozin, one of the drugs which you're talking about. When somebody comes on a statin, like rosuvastatin or Cresta, I take them off it. Why? Cresta and other statins cause insulin resistance, the very thing which we are trying to help you solve. So I get rid of it because I know if you follow the guides, our 3-step system, the diabetes freedom formula, it consistently gets the cholesterol levels normal and the sugar levels. So I'm not worried about those two especially. So I got her off the Cresta, which means she remained on the bisoprolol, amlodipine, and dapagliflozin because she was hesitant to get off. I tried to ask her to get off the drug, but she was hesitant. She feared, no, what if the sugar goes high? I tried to reassure her, but I mean, she was just starting out. I totally understand it. Generally, she was losing muscle, and she only lost 3.8 kilos. In all these months, that's not good progress. August, September, October, November. Basically losing a kilo or 1.2, 1.3 kilos per month, that's really slow. We typically see people lose 0.5 to 1.5 kilos of fat per week. If you're normal weight, you typically tend closer to the 0.5. But if you're overweight, you should be able to hit 1 kilo of fat lost in some of the weeks. She wasn't really hitting those targets. The summary of it all, she was losing muscle and her fat loss was slow, including her visceral fat. Dapagliflozin works to cause you to excrete glucose in urine, which means you're losing calories. And remember, you're taking this drug daily. So which means every day you're putting yourself in a state where you're constantly losing energy in the form of calories. Whenever you heavily restrict calories, one, you cause what we call a physiological stress. So hormones shift in such a way that your metabolism drops. So your ability to burn calories drops. And since you're not getting enough energy, your body tries to create a situation where you put in energy. It causes your hunger hormones to rise. If your hunger hormones rise while your metabolism is dropping, what do you think is going to happen? You're less able to burn calories, but you're hungrier, which means you're potentially eating more. You're going to find yourself storing fat. And that's what stalls progress for people who restrict calories excessively. The example I'm giving here is using a drug like dapagliflozin. It's making you lose calories. I know during this time, she was also not having all of her meals in some cases, especially at the start. As she went on, she began improving. That was also causing another calorie drop. So it's not about burning calories. It's about the hormones. Get the hormones in check. Cortisol, which moderates the process of stress, also causes loss of muscle. And it also causes buildup of visceral fat. So that's why her progress was slow. Wasn't losing enough really significant fat. Her visceral fat was also stagnating, and she was losing muscle. Now, at this point, when she came in, she had some positives. Her pressure was now in normal range. Her fasting blood sugar had dropped 7.4 to 6.3. Her HbA1c had dropped from 11 to 5.9. Amazing. Should be less than 5.7. She's almost there. Her triglycerides were now normal. Her HDL cholesterol was now normal. Her risk of a heart attack had even dropped further. Without a statin, I'll repeat, if you're taking a statin, well, I can only guarantee this if we work together. I get you off the drug immediately because it's causing you more harm than good. And it causing you insulin resistance is just one of the problems. It causes several other issues. It can affect your liver, it can affect your muscles, it can affect your cognition. There's so many things which statins cause. At this point, since her sugar dropped, she was now more open to get off the dapagliflozin. Just by dropping that, see what happened. She dropped 2.2 kilos in 1 week of fat. And while doing that, she built 1.9 kilos of muscle. And as you can see, she immediately got her muscle percentage now into green. For women, I normally target at least 25%. Her fat, she now tipped into the 30s. She'd been stalling in 40s. So for her, her target would be to get about 32%. Several people are kind of hesitant to lose fat, but they want to reverse their type 2 diabetes. They want to get off their medication. And I told them the process really follows. What happens is you start by eating the wrong food. Insulin spikes, causing you to store fat. That's going to cause insulin resistance. So if you want to reverse the process, you kind of have to deal with the fat. But as long as you're building muscle, like in her case, that's good. Now, you're not going to build as much muscle as fat which you lose. In her case, if she's gained 1 kilogram of muscle over time versus 6 kilograms of fat lost, for me, that's perfectly fine, especially for a woman. Typically, we see people over time, over 4 to 6 months, they could probably gain at most maybe like 3 kilograms of muscle As long as you're dropping fat, your muscle percentage will significantly increase. This is basic math. Even if your muscle mass, keyword, the muscle mass, the actual amount of muscle remains constant, if your fat mass is dropping, the percentage of the muscle relative to the fat is going to increase, even without the actual mass increasing. Yeah, so the goal really is just to make sure that the muscle mass remains at worst constant while the fat is dropping. So this amazing progress, as you can see, she moved from 4 drugs at the start. She's now on 2 drugs for her blood pressure. And if her pressure continues to be in this range, once we get her visceral fat to 7, which I believe we'll be able to do now that we're off the dapagliflozin, maybe within the next 1-2 weeks, we should be able to get to 7. I'll check her pressure again. And if it's normal, I'll consider removing one other drug. Right. Yeah. So once again, if you're taking gliflozin, dapagliflozin, empagliflozin, any type 2 diabetes drug which ends with that gliflozin, I recommend that you consider exploring the diabetes freedom formula. So I hope you found value in this video. Till next time, to your freedom, Dr. Andre Etiquette. Speak soon.